this is Marilyn Fontaine from www.mjfontaine.co.uk, and welcome to the Unconventional Creative Pioneer series. Today we have a wonderful goddess, Thea Urifasa. Have I spelled it right?
Urifisa.
Urifisa.
That's the one.
And she's actually, I'm going to let her introduce herself to you, and she's going to explain all what she does. And I'm going to actually leave it to her because I think that this woman's quite amazing, and we have certain parallels in our lives, and that's not the reason why she's amazing, by the way. But anyway, I'm going to pass it on to you, Thea.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Hi, thanks for having me, Marilyn. I'm really grateful for this opportunity. I'm the Urifisa, as Marilyn said, and I'm the author of a book called Running Into Myself, and also the founder of Urbandeva.com. My book is about my rite of passage from girl to womanhood, using running as a metaphor, and also as something that actually did physically change my life as well. Sometimes you can't come at these things from talking about them. Sometimes you have to just literally get out there and change your life from the ground up, which is what the book is about. But on the way, I discovered that I needed to grow up, and that's what the book is about. It's about my rite of passage into womanhood, which was really only the first step, which I've only realised since publishing the book. You don't just suddenly become a woman one day. It was the beginning of a process in which you get into deeper and deeper as you go along. The beginning of an unflowering, shall we say. And yeah, Urbandeva is about creating a space. One day the dream is to create a physical space where people from all backgrounds, cultures, traditions can come together and reconnect with themselves, with others, and with nature, because that's a common language that we all have, regardless of our religious beliefs or spiritual beliefs. And that really was born out of my interest in school. When I went to a school where we used to celebrate everyone else's religious traditions, we celebrated everyone, and we would come together and celebrate Eid, Diwali, Chinese New Year. And I just think that's something that I don't even think that would happen today. But that was something I found quite magical growing up, and that's something that I think, obviously, at a subconscious level, influenced me, and something I want to create a space for urbanites, for people who live in our modern Western culture who don't belong to any particular spiritual faith or tradition, or even if they do, just to have that space rather than going shopping, where people can come together and just reconnect in their own way, and to provide people with the tools for them to do that, and without getting in the face about how they should do that or what that should look like, but inspiring them with beauty. So that's what Urbandeva is. Still becoming. The next step is an online magazine to create a virtual space, and then to move to a physical space, which I envision being in the US and the UK, and hopefully everywhere. But that's the place that I've always felt. So that's what Urbandeva is, and I think that's enough.
That's amazing. It's really funny. There's a few things that linked from the last interview with Latoya, because she actually runs as part of her exercise, and also the same thing about faith has come up, about celebrating all faiths. And I don't know if you saw her T-shirt. It's on the actual previous podcast, and I'll put a link up. How my favourite T-shirt is the one with all the faiths on it. And it's the actual picture I use for the blog, and that's what actually made me contact her. So, you actually bring that link into what you're saying now, and I find it really interesting how we can be connected and be in different parts of the world as well, and have similar views. And to me, I've read your book, and I've recommended it, actually, I forgot to tell you, to a client who has actually gone to Thailand as part of her own personal rites of passage.
Okay.
She's a coaching client, and I said to, she wanted actually to start running. And I said to her, you need to get this book, because it will kind of parallel. I mean, she's only 23, and it will parallel specific things you're going through. So it's really, what is your aim for your business or your journey? I mean, your journey, is it the same as your business? Do you
with
see them as
Urbandeva.
separate? Yes.
I don't, well, yeah, it is a business, isn't it? It is a business as well, but it's that, I mean, I don't think I have any choice, to be quite honest, in it. I
Yeah.
don't have a choice. This isn't something I never sat down and thought, right, what do I want to do when I grow up? This
Yeah.
is, or, you know, because I started out as a life coach myself 8 years ago, and there are lots of questionnaires you can fill in, and, you know, which you can look at how you're shaped. I don't mean physically, I mean psychically, intellectually, mentally, emotionally. How are you shaped? Because we all have as a unique psychic shape as we do a physical shape, and people don't
Right.
realize that because you can't see the psyche, obviously. Um, and then I looked at that back in when I was doing coaching, but I've realized over the years that this has kind of come out of dreams and intuitions, and it won't leave me alone. And it's kind
Yeah.
of dogged me for years because I just think, oh, please go away, because I don't quite know where you're going or what your point is or what you want me to do with you. It's almost like I can't shake it off. It won't leave me alone. So it's but then again, it unites all the areas that I am passionate about and love, and it brings them all together in a way that, in a very neat way, really. So it means that I get to do all the things I love, in terms of just bringing more inspiration and more beauty to the world, but in a very grounded way that I think a lot of teachers, I mean, when the whole New Age movement sort of really kicked in, it was much more etheric and transcendent, and I always use the word a little bit more airy-fairy. I think we're in times now where we need to be a little bit more grounded about things. I think people want something that speaks to them, and you know, it's just more grounded, got more grit, it's more realistic, but at the same time it's still inspiring. And so I think Urbandeva is in its way that it won't leave me alone and keeps showing me ideas and visions that I think, right, okay, that's great, how am I going to do that? That's what it's about, and that's where it's going. So it's never anything I sat down and thought, this is what I'm going to do. It's more that when I think about it, it unites all the areas in which I'm interested. And I have this vision, or as Alan Watts would say, you know, do you do it or does it do you? You know, did I come up with this idea, or did something, you know, as Osho would say, the whole is trying to do something through you?
Yeah.
You know, so I don't think I've got any choice, to be quite honest. But at the same time, I can't imagine working towards anything else either. So that's the thing, when you kind of have to surrender to your destiny, you know, that there are certain things that we are destined to do, whether we like it or not. And when you're fighting against it, you're usually depressed and you're down. But when you're doing something towards it, even if you do feel lost, you still feel that you've got some focus, that you've got a purpose. There is meaning in your life, even if you don't know where it's going. You've still got something, a glue there that's holding something together, even if you don't know what that something is. And I think that's what Urbandeva is for me. It kind of just gives me things piecemeal, bit by bit, little by little. You know, and just when you just think, oh, that's it, I've had enough, I don't know what you want me to do or what the next step is, you might just get one more bit, just enough to sustain you. Just that little bit where you think, oh, thank you. And then off you go again for a while, and then you get to the end, you get down and just think, oh, here we go again, and then you get given something else. So just a little bit piecemeal. And you're so grateful for it as well. It's like you're starving. Thank you. So that's what Urbandeva is. I never devised it. I never came up with it. It wasn't born out of an ego-based decision. It wasn't conscious. Everything that's happened has come together from an unconscious level.
Wow. So it's almost as if you are embodying what your life's work, what you're meant to be doing. I don't know if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean is that you've not, because the next question is about what goal setting process, but what comes to me, what you're saying is, how I kind of view my business, these are things I enjoy doing. Why do I? Where do they come from? Why? Well, one question was for me is why me? And like you said, there's all the things you enjoy doing, and you're just expressing that out there, and it's by you being yourself and tapping into your gifts, whatever they are for you, you're kind of helping others.
Yeah.
Or, so whatever way that is, it's not just about I can heal you and all the other stuff.
No.
It's about being who you are. And you know, for me, is it about just surrendering to what's coming towards you and passing that through to other people, or is it just being on your path and other people are being affected? Which of the two is it?
Which resonates more?
Yeah.
I've always wanted to help others. That's been there from being since I can remember. I've always wanted to give back. It's just this energy that moves through. You know, you get given. I felt a lot of love growing up. Had even though it wasn't your typical family structure, it was a stable structure, and I felt a lot of love. And I think from that place, you feel you can give a lot back. And I've always been like that. I've always wanted to give back. It's the most natural thing. And even if I try, you know, for example, health and beauty, you know, going off a little bit of a tangent, I get the opportunity to write about lots of products that aren't in alignment with what feels right to me, and I just say no, you know. But I don't know why I'm saying no. It's almost like something saying you're not going down that path. Move along.
Yeah.
You're not interested in those things, whether you like it or not. So don't even bother. So there are products out there, you know, when I get PR people saying, "Oh, you know, you want to talk about this and that," and it's like, no, because it's like a little voices. Because I can't really, because I'm just not shaped that way to talk about those things. I can't buy into it. I am shaped this way, and it's so. It's about both. It's about because I enjoy greatly creating that energy, that space, that environment for people to be transformed, to be inspired, to for all those wonderful things. And also because I think I'm also shaped that way. I think I am psychically shaped that way. But goals do come into it, and intention does come into it. I think recently, over recent years, this whole thing with The Secret, I think it got a little bit too hung up on just intending and not realizing that, you know, because a lot of that is ego-based stuff. If I have this stuff, I think I will be happy. Doesn't work like that. I mean, it's amazing how when everything is stripped away, and I've had moments like this where I've had absolutely nothing. In those moments when you realize you've got everything, then that's when you find your abundance, and then you realize that, you know, having the car isn't necessarily going to make you happy, having the big house isn't necessarily going to make you happy. But I think you have to get to that place first before you realize that. But then intentions are good, because if you do have a dream, or you do have an intuition, or you do have a gut feeling, you also then need to be able to structure how you're going to actually create that. That's great. You've got the vision. It's called you, if you like. It's shown itself. It's presented itself to you. Now you need to hold that, but also give it a structure. And that structure helps you create that. So I think intention and goal setting sit side by side with intuition and dreaming and imagination. I think you need both.